Hi, everyone. I'm Brian Schmidt with Geothermal Rising. Thank you for joining us today for this Full Steam Ahead webcast. Today, we'll be discussing the role of collegiate competitions in the geothermal workforce. We've got a great panel of speakers today. I'd like to start by introducing Vanessa Robertson, Geothermal Rising's University and Education Outreach Manager, and let her introduce you to the rest of the panel.
Thank you, Brian, and thank you everyone for joining us this morning, afternoon, evening, wherever you are joining us from across the world. We have a great group of attendees here today, so thank you all again for attending. As Brian said, my name is Vanessa Robertson, and I am the University and Education Outreach Manager at Geothermal Rising, and it's a privilege to be your moderator today. Today's webinar is all about the role of collegiate competitions and the impact they have on growing the geothermal industry. Before we begin, I want to thank our members for making events like this possible. We have our Earth Energy Visionaries, and our Geothermal Champion members. Without their support and commitment, events like this are not possible. So thank you. So today during this webinar, we're going to get first a brief intro from all of our panelists, including which competition they participated in and what their geothermal focus was. We will have a few questions to our panelists, followed by more details on 2 collegiate competitions, followed by a few wrap-up questions, and then we will open it up to Q&A from our attendees. Please feel free to put your questions in the Q&A box at the bottom. Our objective today is to recognize the incredible work of these current and past students and highlight the importance and impact these project-based competitions can have in driving the growth of the geothermal workforce. We also hope that our attendees will consider participating in these competitions both as students and as industry mentors, and we will provide resources on how to do just that. We have 5 incredible panelists here with me today to discuss their experiences as students and in some cases mentors with 2 successful and impactful collegiate competitions, the Department of Energy Geothermal Collegiate Competition and the Switch Energy Alliance Case Competition. I've invited 2 guest speakers to share with you all a little bit more about these competitions and how students and industry professionals can get involved. So without further ado, I'd like to invite Kaito to start off our introductions.
Hello, everyone. My name is Kaito Chukwudi. I studied chemical engineering at Nnamdi Azikiwe University, Nigeria. I currently intern with Switch Energy Alliance, where I and my team are putting together the first ever Switch alumni network, which will foster a community for past, present, and then future participants of case competition. And this will enable them encourage continuity and also growth in the energy space. I also work with Peso Energy Nigeria as a project engineer, and we help to deliver energy solutions across organizations and the society as a whole. I and my team clinched first place in the 2023 Switch International Energy Case Competition. And during this competition, we worked on evaluating the energy situation in Kenya, proposing solutions that will make this situation better and seeing the feasibility of transferring these proposed solutions to Bangladesh. So it's really interesting for me, especially because this was my very first time learning that an African country, Kenya in this case, made use of geothermal energy in their energy mix. So we found out that only about 0.9 gigawatts out of a potential of 10 gigawatts of geothermal energy is being utilized in Kenya, and this has led to their reduced energy access. So we developed Light Up Energy Kenya plan, which proposes both grid expansion and grid intensification projects to integrate battery energy storage systems to these geothermal plants that will increase their energy access to about 95%. So thank you very much.
I guess that's me. My name is Nicholas Fry. I am the Thermal Energy Network's market lead for Jacobs in North America. And my previous experience with the Geothermal Collegiate competition started in 2019 by characterizing some geothermal district heating potential in Colorado, and then continued with a few different iterations of the competition. And most recently, I had the privilege to participate as a mentor for Princeton and Columbia University team members in the policy space. And that was a very rewarding experience. So I'm happy to be here today. Thanks for the invitation. I look forward to talking about it.
Hi everyone, my name is Alex Martin, and I did my bachelor's in environmental engineering with the University of Colorado Boulder, and then currently, right now, I'm getting my master's degree in sustainable energy engineering in Iceland, particularly with a focus on geothermal. And so along with that, I'm working on my thesis with Reykjavik Energy. I've gotten the chance to work with EggGeo LLC, and I've also done some operations in a district heating plant as well. And so within the Geothermal Collegiate competition, I participated in 2022 with the CU Boulder team, and we focused on a local nonprofit called the I Have a Dream Foundation. And so they did educational workshops for ages K through 12, and we did an HVAC replacement with heat pumps. And a big part of this was not only the design of the HVAC system and the heat pumps, but also all of the labs and lessons for all the kids involved. So I'm very excited to be here today.
Hello, I'm Jessica Eagle Bluestone, and I'm currently the Tribal Community Engagement Manager with Geothermal Rising. I'm also serving as an energy advisor to the chairman of the tribe that I'm from, MHA Nation, in Western North Dakota. And I'm also serving on the board of the Tribal Energy Consortium. So I participated 3 times. Fall 2020, my team participated in the infographic challenge and we got first place. And spring 2021, that one was focused on a community on the reservation that I'm from, and we did a district energy system with an excess load for greenhousing. And in 2022, we got second place, and that was also another community on the reservation that I'm from, and that was focused on combined heat and power. Thank you.
Everyone, my name is Fidelis Onwawa, and I got my bachelor's of science from Nnamdi Azikiwe University, my master's from Kansas State University, and currently I'm pursuing a PhD in geology at the University of Kansas, where I'm investigating critical mineral and rare earth element deposition. In 2023, I had the opportunity to participate in the International Switch Energy Case competition, where my team and I came first. For the competition, I'm not going to be going deep into the competition, into our project, because Kaito already did that, but I would like to reiterate that for that competition, we worked on, my team and I worked on developing clean energy solution for Kenya, while leveraging on its abundant geothermal resources. And also we evaluated the feasibility of transferring the solutions we got for Kenya to Bangladesh. Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you for those introductions. So let's go ahead and start off with actually you, Fidelis. Please tell us, what was the most rewarding part of your experience and also the most challenging part during your project?
Okay, thank you for the question. I would say that entirely the competition from the registration to the final announcement of results was entirely rewarding. However, the most rewarding part was the fact that seeing the impact of our solution and its potential in addressing real-world energy crisis. Also, knowing that our proposal could solve energy poverty, create jobs, significantly reduce CO2 emission, and also provide investment was incredibly fulfilling. Additionally, the opportunity to work alongside talented and diverse team members like those I had in my team taught me the value of collaboration, critical thinking, and problem solving, which were key to the success of my team. The most challenging part of the competition, I would say, was navigating the complexity of balancing the technical feasibility and the technical feasibility and the economical viability, while also keeping sustainability in mind. My team had to constantly refine our approach to ensure our solution was practical and aligned with the goals of the competition. Also, another challenge was time constraints and the need to make quick, well-informed decisions under pressure. This time constraint added an extra layer of difficulty to it. And however, this challenge also pushed us to be more creative and focused both individually and collectively. In my own personal, from my own end, another major challenge I experienced was time difference. So majority of all of my teammates actually were in a different time zone. I was 7 hours behind. So it kind of created a lapse in task delivery and the activities of the group. But like I said earlier, this experience helped me to be more creative, exhibit flexibility, and got more focused in the competition, which was key to the success of our team. Thank you.
Wonderful. Yes, for those of us that are in the industry, yeah, time zones, I usually have a cheat sheet of where everyone's at. So thank you so much. Jessica. Same
So,
question.
for me, the most rewarding part was the experience that I gained and working with the team that I had. I feel like our team was particularly stacked with a lot of sharp, brilliant people, and it just kind of pushed everyone to work harder. I also really enjoyed working with my community, and ultimately the project that we came up with is something that hopefully we build out here on Fort Berthold someday. And the most challenging would probably making sure that you're staying on track and making adequate progress throughout the course of the competition so that you don't have to like rush to get everything done at the end. So we were able to like have regular meetings, but even then we still kind of had to do like that like final push where everyone's just going crazy for like a day or two.
Wonderful. Perfect. Nicholas.
Yeah, and so Jessica's kind of stealing my thunder as usual, but I think the most rewarding thing is just that community engagement piece. You actually get to see your plans put through some thought processes with stakeholders and get real feedback on what's important to them and what's not. And that's a really valuable addition for the competitions themselves. It's something that you're not going to get in a classroom when you're learning how to put systems together. And I think that is probably the largest rewarding experience. The challenging part that you'll find, and I had this experience across all the competitions that I participated in, is it may be one of your earliest experiences with real project management aspects, unless you've been in those positions before. So project management roles are challenging in a totally different way than you'll find in engineering or geosciences themselves. So managing the group, getting all the cats to go the right direction is something that's challenging but important.
Wonderful. Thank you. Kato.
Yeah, so for my most rewarding parts, two things come to mind. I think the first will be, for me, it was good for me to be able to look critically into the diverse energy situations in different countries, especially energy poor countries. So it gave us the opportunity to actually like prefer tangible solutions that encompasses both financial, technological, and even governmental structures. And this was particularly fulfilling to me because it gave me like the opportunity to actually create tangible and positive impact. Then another thing I enjoyed would be the diversity of switch competition, because it brought students from across the world, different countries, and we're able to learn and even hear each other speak about situations that we face in our countries or even outside of our countries, and how we plan on developing the energy space. And currently my team indirectly works with two other Azerbaijan girls, Namin and Medina. So it gives us an opportunity to actually like come together and build like a spark of friendship. Then for the challenging part, I'll also say something Fidelis said, and that was the time zone difference. So it was particularly hard for us because I mean we're all in different countries, but we're able to put our best foot forward, and I'm glad that it worked out well. And the last thing I'll mention will be getting accurate data online. So this this competition allowed us to see that it was not easy getting transparent and efficient data online. We had to dig really, really deep, but yeah, we were able to do it. Thank you.
Wonderful, thank you. And then Alex.
Yeah, I think that the most rewarding part for me of the experience just had to be gaining some excitement for it. And so my whole team, we were just bachelor students who kind of just got collected by a professor to join this team, but none of us really knew much about geothermal. And so a big major part of our project was, one Saturday a week for about 5 weeks, 6 weeks, we went down to the community center that we were working with, and we ran labs and lessons. And it was from, ages, elementary, middle, and high schoolers. And so it was really exciting for us to put those together. And as we learned more about geothermal, we got more excited for it. And then the kids got more excited for it. And eventually the staff was joining the lessons, the kids' parents were joining the lessons. And so that was a very, very rewarding part of the experience. And, we had heat transfer labs and everyone was participating. And so I really loved that. And as far as challenges go, I think it was one of my first introductions to maybe how projects work in the real world. And I just remember being very surprised by the permitting process and how complex that could be. And so that was definitely a learning experience for me.
Wonderful. Well, I definitely want to touch base with you, Alex, afterwards, because all those labs, you're speaking my language. I want to get a hold of those so we can start getting some more outreach education on geothermal. Great. Well, so our next question is going to go to Jessica, Nicholas, and Kaito. This is first with you, Jessica. What impact has this competition had in your current career? You're here at Geothermal Rising, and what is this competition done for you?
Yeah, so prior to this, I was definitely more focused on the technical aspects of geothermal, and this competition really brought out the focus on community engagement. So that directly led to where I'm at now as the Tribal Community Engagement Manager of Geothermal Rising.
Wonderful. Thank you. Nicholas.
Yeah, so I think the competitions had a really positive impact. I mean, I was working on these systems in my graduate work already prior to engaging in the competition. So I found it as another stepping stone in the process. And now, apparently, as might be indicated by this meeting, many people ask me to come and speak to them about geothermal district heating and cooling systems, whether it's other educational institutions, utility companies, or communities across North America and more broadly across the world. So definitely a positive stepping stone in that process.
Wonderful. And Kaito.
Yeah, I would say it has been of great impact, really, because recently I and a group of people have been exploring the opportunities of actually utilizing geothermal energy across different African countries, looking at integrating AI and also decentralized models, right? So it's something I'm looking forward to, and it looks really promising. And aside from this, I consider being in this panel really a win and a progress in my energy career. This will help me like show the world, show students and professionals of the great possibilities and opportunities within the geothermal industry. So yeah, thank you.
Oh, thank you. That's why we're doing this. I love it. Wonderful. Okay, so now we've heard a little bit about the impact these competitions have had on these students and professionals. So now we're going to hear a little bit about these competitions. So I'd like to introduce Carl Stephenson. He's the project manager for the Switch Case competition. Oh, you're on mute, Carl.
Sorry about that. I do that all the time. All right. Yeah, so I've been on board with the Switch Energy Alliance since 2022. And basically, our competition is focused around proposing solutions to global energy poverty. And so we present a problem to the students. They have 3 weeks to research the problem, and then they create a proposal, and then submit that for judging. And then we narrow it down to the top 5 teams, and they each get a share of a $25,000 prize package and the opportunity to apply for internships with Switch. We are pretty proud, actually, of our global reach. The competition started 5 years ago, and since that time, we've had 3,200 students participating, making up 800 teams from 55 different countries. And we've also had over 700 professional volunteers that mentor the teams and judge the submissions. So our calendar is pretty compressed. Basically, in September is our period for registration, both for students and volunteers. And then October 1st, we send out the case packet with all the information. The teams make their selection of what problem they want to work on and spend 3 weeks working on research, putting their proposals together. And then we have 3 rounds of judging in the first 3 weeks of November. As I mentioned, the focus of the competition is really on proposing solutions to address energy poverty around the world. And the students do that by analyzing and comparing a variety of factors that contribute to energy poverty in the different countries, and consider how best practices in one country can be applied in the second country. And of course, they have to take into consideration the impact of a variety of factors, including how government energy policies can impact things, as well as other factors. And one of the things that we like to do, of course, is to provide opportunities for the students to network with the energy professionals that are engaged in the competition as well. So the prompt, we select pairs of countries around the world, and the teams select one pair of country to focus on. They conduct a comparative and energy audit of the 2 countries, and then choose one of the countries and propose a 10-year plan for access to reliable and affordable energy in that country. And they really look at these 3 elements. They look at the design, what resources do they use, consider stakeholder engagement, et cetera. And then they have to put together an implementation timeline over that 10-year period within a given budget that we provide to them. And then lastly, they need to address a number of impacts on the environment, the society, financial and political impacts as well. Finally, they take a look at the feasibility of transferring that plan or any part of that plan to the second country, and then put together a 15-minute video with PowerPoint support presentation and submit that for judging. So our volunteers volunteer as either mentors or judges or both. We have quite a few that volunteer to do both roles. The mentor's role primarily is to just guide and encourage the team, and they can choose to do that for one or more teams. And basically, it's not a very arduous commitment. They meet once a week with the teams for 30 minutes virtually. And then, as I mentioned, we have 3 rounds of judging that wraps up in the first 2 weeks of November. But during October, we also have workshops for the mentors, the judges, and the team leaders, just to provide some additional detail around the responsibilities of those roles, and then to address any questions or issues that they might have. Concurrent with the competition, we have a social media contest, and this is really designed to enhance engagement across our different social media platforms, both for the students and for the volunteers. And we provide prompts for a number of different stages throughout the competition period. And then at the end of the competition, we'll select one winner from each of the 5 regions, and they get a share of a $1,200 prize package, and with the winning teams being announced at our final judging round in November. Kaito mentioned a new initiative that we're going to launch in November, the Switch Alumni Network, and she did a good job describing it already, but basically we want to do whatever we can to maintain engagement with our competition participants. And we'll also be engaging with various business professional organizations and other organizations, NGOs, et cetera. And one of the main things that we want to do with this is actually create partnerships with some of these different organizations to take the proposals that the students have developed and actually see if we can get some parts or elements of those put into practice and practical applications in different communities, and hopefully also providing some hands-on experience for the participants themselves. So our registration period is going on through the end of this month, and we have a newsletter also that we send out. So people are more than welcome to sign up for that. There's a QR code you can scan if you're interested in finding out more. And you can always email me or go to our website, switchcompetition.org, for more information. Thanks.
Wonderful. Thank you, Carl. Okay, my next guest is Diana Acero Ayar from NREL. She is a geothermal researcher. Thank you, Diana.
Thank you, Vanessa. Thank you very much. Well, in the next few minutes, I will try my best to describe these different points from the Geothermal Collegiate competition. So we start here with, well, what is the Geothermal Collegiate competition? So this is a competition for students in the collegiate level that is funded by the Department of Energy, specifically from the Geothermal Technology Office. It has been for more than 10 years. The first version of the competition was in 2012. And the goal is to support workforce development from the level of students in college. And that is to gain experience that sometimes you cannot have directly from the classroom, as many of you as mentioned, and to have this hands-on experience that is going to be directly put in your resume or in your experience, and you start creating this curiosity about the geothermal industry while you compete from cash prizes, and also to gain this valuable experience in geothermal, but also into the renewable energy industry. So the competition asks for develop a real world geothermal solution. That I think that is what is important about these competitions, that is not concepts that are not going to be applicable. They are applicable, they are real world solutions, and that bring an extra value of the experience for the students from that level. Well, why students should participate in the Geothermal Collegiate competition is an excellent way to gain hands-on experience, again, in this case, in the geothermal industry, but also in terms of the renewable energy industry, to see how it works. It's a jump start for that part. These competitions, as you have seen, it create this first relationship for many with mentors and the community, their faculty specialize in these topics. Also because it's an excellent way to collaborate with the students from other disciplines, not only the ones that you usually are in the classroom, but from different ones. This competition allowed that a mix of different majors, different levels of undergraduate, graduate, and disciplines too. Now, one important part is that you don't need geothermal experience needed to participate here. Actually, this is what is going to provide you that experience. So have that in mind when you are at least considering to participate in these type of competitions. And one very good part that everyone like it is that they can participate for cash prizes. So this year we have a total prize pot of $38,000. So historically, the geothermal Collegiate competition in some numbers, we have had about 300 or more students in the US and territories. That is where the competition is applicable. We have had about 100 teams participating from 56 different collegiate institutions. We have been in 30 states in the US. We are always in our intention to expand beyond these 30 states to all 50 states and territories for the US. And we have had so far about 126K, even more, but 126K of the cash prizes, even that additional prizes have come in different versions of the competitions, like participating in events or other type of events or different bonus and honorable mentions that we have for the competition. Well, it's not required for the competition to have a faculty advisor and or a mentor. However, I wanted to mention here because it's a very important part of the competition and for any student's team that really is participating in a competition. So faculty is not required. However, we have seen that faculty is an important component for the Geothermal Collegiate competition, as some of them, they make this competition as part of the fall courses for hands-on learning experience, because there are already rules that are already set up of how the project should be. Some faculty use that as an experience. And for the mentors, from last year, we start officially the mentoring program. That is the one that Nicolas is part of that, where there is this connection between industry mentors with the students. And we have seen that is very excited for the students, but also for the mentors. Is an experience of giving their experiences that they have when maybe they were participated, or this view of how the industry is out there. And I think that is extremely rewarding. I know for the mentors, I know for the students, but also from us as an organizer to see how excited students are to have these relationships. Well, the Geothermal Collegiate competition from last year started doing 2 tracks. One, it always had been on the technical side, most of them on the technical side. However, from last year, we create a policy track, this with the intention of involve more disciplines and also to have 2 different emphasis. We see that the technical part is extremely important for the development of the geothermal industry. However, of course, regulatory, financial, workforce development also come as part of projects. And when we see that in the real world, they are not different. They are not definitely separate. They are together. So it's for that we create 2 tracks. So students at this point can participate on the technical track or the policy track. And these multidisciplinary teams also are very engaged. There is a difference of the deliverables that they have, but they have also some core deliverables that they share too. Next. We can go with this one, the always a very excited part. I remember being a student and being, extra cash is always handy and excited. And is also, one of the motivation for teams to have time and put effort on these type of projects. So we have for first and second and third place cash prizes. This year also we have a bonus prize for the outstanding submission from tribal or community college, and some other honorable mentions as part of the deliverables. Some of the panelists had already mentioned this part is something very unique for the competition from the Department of Energy, is that as part of the project we have an engagement, a stakeholder engagement as part of the project. So the geothermal competition from the last year, it has been directed to design a geothermal district here in a cooling system. And part of that is to engage with the stakeholders, right? Like identify the stakeholders, talk with them, communicate with them, and also plan a possible or potential event that it will happen. This will happen for those teams that are going to win the first place. However, it's part of the deliverables to plan that and to engage with the communities. I think that is an excellent and one of the bonus part, because as we were talking about real world problems, the communities are now out of there. It is something that from the beginning should be there, and we know that. And for the students, this is an excellent way to like face those challenges, but also rewards from the beginning in these type of projects. Well, I think that with this, I just want to recap a little bit. So in this moment, we have open registrations for the Geothermal Collegiate Competition 2024. The registration will close at October 7th. So now, if you are considering, if you are thinking about this, start recruiting 10 members, minimum 3 students that they are enrolled in the fall semester. Read the rules. The rules is a document that it has like all the information about eligibility, deliverables, deadlines, the whole competition is there. Register by HeroX. And again, the deadline is by October 7th. Learn, start. We are providing resources there. Resources about software, resources about other type of tools that students can use. And start designing the solutions and jump and compete in this competition. So yeah, everyone is welcome. Thank you.
Wonderful, thank you. And just a reminder, we'll be sending the recording and various links and resources out to all registered attendees, and we'll be placing it on our website too. So, and also as a reminder, definitely put some questions in the Q&A for both our student panelists and our guest speakers, please. Okay, so let's talk a little bit. We heard a little bit about the mentorship, but let's dive a little bit deeper into that, and just starting with you, Nicholas. Just again, could you elaborate a little bit more on that benefit and that rewarding aspect of mentoring students and the support that you've obviously received, from Jacobs in supporting that initiative?
Yeah, absolutely. So just first and foremost, it was really rewarding to first participate in the competitions and then be able to mentor new teams coming in to do those competitions. So I had the benefit of learning from all of the mistakes that I made along the way, which is really valuable if you find yourself in a mentoring position or look for process improvement at a later date with your own projects. So I would say that something that was extremely important was identifying what the goals of those teams were internally and how much or how little they actually understood about how geothermal function, and then putting that in a context for them in what could actually be executed as a practical project, right? So I have found it time and time again to be a rule we must all adhere to, which is never underestimate the power of simplicity, and being able to explain that to the collegiate competition teams, I think was probably the one thing that I did good for them. They were very capable on their own, of course, but I think that really led them to a very valuable project delivery. And I was very impressed with that.
Wonderful. Thank you. Carl, could you talk a little bit more about the mentorship?
Make sure to unmute myself this time. Excuse me. Well, our mentors come from a variety of energy-related fields and a number of different countries and organizations, business, academia, government, et cetera. And really, they're there to act as a sounding board for the teams and keep the teams on track to finish their research and their presentations. But much like what Nicholas was talking about, a big part of their role is to help in setting goals for the teams and help the teams to develop different roles and leadership skills, delegate authority, things like that. They also are there to encourage the teams to think critically about potential energy solutions and sources and to capitalize actually on the interdisciplinary composition of many of the teams. Our teams range everywhere from freshman students to PhD candidates. So there's quite a broad variety of experience and technical exposure. As far as benefits are concerned, of course, one of the main benefits for the mentors is they get to share their knowledge, both their technical expertise and practical knowledge, how to build a presentation, how to make a presentation, things as elementary as that. They're also there to inspire the students to become more informed about energy options and their impacts, and just to provide encouragement and guidance as the teams work through the process and develop their solutions. Many of our mentors volunteer repeatedly, several years in a row, and they always find the experience very rewarding and get a lot of inspiration actually based on the creativity and the innovation that they see from these young teams and the commitments of the students. And as they work through the mentoring process, especially if they're mentoring multiple teams, they get to see what these different teams bring to the table, and it helps them to compare and grow their own mentoring skills as well. So they have personal benefits, obviously, but they also have a great benefit to the teams. I was going to mention that, through the judging process, we narrow things down to the top 5 teams to compete in the finals. And I don't believe that any team has made it to the finals without the contribution of a mentor. So the mentoring role is really important for these teams.
Wonderful. Thank you. Diana.
Yeah, well, I think that Nicholas and Carl covered like almost everything. I think that I just want to add is, yes, about the rewarding process for the mentors, but also they get knowledge, right? Like once you are being a mentor, you also learn about the innovation, the different views that the students have now, that their own worries, their own goals, their everything. So I think that that is also an important part of that relationship. That is a lot about like bringing your experience, your knowledge, because it's very valuable for the students, but also from the students to the mentor. And that is when these relationships, mentor-mentees, become completely a high value in these mentoring programs.
Wonderful. So I'm going to add a question. I'm going to put some of the students on the spot. Would anyone from the student perspective like to just mention anything about the impact that their mentor had on them?
Nick and I were pre-mentor participation, but I think it would have been very useful.
Yes, it was, particularly because it helped us like shape our thoughts into perspectives. Like sometimes we had like the bulk of the idea, but a mentor like helped us to streamline our thought process and also guide us in the right directions, and also figure out gaps or loopholes that we had thought about. And he was able to structure our what we had in mind to place it on paper exactly.
Yeah, I would also mention that we learned from the experience of our mentor. You see, our mentor had participated in the previous edition of the competition, so we were able to see where his team or he went wrong and made adjustments and came up with something better. So we leveraged on his experience to come up with a better solution.
Wonderful. Thank you. That was not a planned question, so great job. Wonderful. So we're wrapping up. My last kind of question is to all of the panelists. If you had the opportunity to encourage a student to participate in the collegiate competition or an industry professional to mentor, what would you say? And we'll start with you, Kaito.
Okay, to a student, I would say you should give it a shot, right? Don't think too much about your capacity or your abilities, because overthinking it may take away the joy and the learning process. So these opportunities are not just here to like expose you to what happens in the energy space, but also helps you to like refine your perspectives and your capabilities, and you are sure of growth definitely. So meaning that at whatever level of experience that you think you have, you're always welcome to try. Then to a professional, I'll say that you should take up opportunities like this to mentor students, because it certainly leaves like a mark in our hearts and definitely in our future. So it gives us like this assurance that we are doing something good. And trust me, you're creating ripples of positive impact that will not also enable us to be groomed as a good energy leader, but also you're contributing to the whole of society and to the world at large. Thank you.
Wonderful. Nicholas.
Yeah, I guess I can echo that. That's very important as we look forward. If you're going to participate as a mentor in the projects, it is that forward-looking, next generation perspective of the systems that we already know how to assemble, but we just need the right people to put them together. This competition or these competitions, plural, really serve to shine a light on what can be done and what should be done more consistently across society broadly. And then as a participant, you can certainly look to those cases in the past that have been deliverables for whether it's the geothermal collegiate competition or otherwise, that have gone on to actually being in detailed design phases or are entering construction phases. So commercialization of your potential project is something that could be on the table for you. And it doesn't really matter what you know right now. I mean, geothermal anything, it's really not rocket science. Okay, so we can get you there if you don't already know, and we need more people in the field in the end, doing the engineering, doing the geoscience, doing the finance modeling, doing the stakeholder engagement, and building the systems, because there's no question that these are the most beneficial to society that we can really put together.
Wonderful. Thank you. Alex.
Yeah, I'll say from a student perspective, I kind of had to be coaxed into doing this competition. I was like super dead set on joining the solar team, but they didn't have enough spots. And so, my mentor in my university was like, come on, just give it a try. And so, like, just on a personal level, this competition has really changed kind of the trajectory of my career. I was super dead set on doing like water remediation, something like that. Did this competition in my last year of my bachelor's, graduated, decided to move to Iceland to go study geothermal further. So, things kind of snowball, and I'm not really sure if I would be out here doing what I'm doing now if I hadn't participated.
Wonderful. I have just so many goosebumps going on. I love all of this so much. Jessica.
So generally speaking, even if you're working on a project that doesn't go the direction of it being something that's actually going to be developed, you learn a tremendous amount of skill. The software that you're exposed to is stuff that you may be using on the job in the future. The financial models that you're doing really just build your knowledge base. So even if you're going into engineering in geothermal, it's still a good background to have and to understand when you're working on projects. Wonderful. And last but definitely not least, Fidelis.
Okay, so I would say the experience you gather from competitions like this, either as a student or as a professional, is transformative in ways we cannot anticipate. From the student's perspective, participating in competitions like this pushes you to think critically, collaborate effectively, and apply your knowledge to solving real-world problems. It also sharpens your skills, expand your network, and boosts your confidence in tackling challenges. For professionals, I think I would say to them that mentoring offers them a chance to shape the next generation of leaders while also gaining fresh perspective of the ever-evolving energy industry. Both experience are incredibly rewarding. They foster growth, innovation, and develop meaningful connections. So generally, I would say to students and professionals, they should get involved. I remember last year when my teammate first reached out to me to participate, I was at the peak of writing my master's thesis then. There was a lot of workload for me to do. I didn't even think about it. I just said yes. I never knew what Switch was all about. I didn't know what these competitions was all about. I already said yes, but before I was like, what's this? Eventually today, I am glad I said yes to the invitation last year. So I would say to students and professionals, always get involved. Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you all so much for sharing all that inspiring feedback and perspectives. I know I already told Carl that I don't know if I have the bandwidth this month, but now I'm kind of trying to decide if I can mentor this year, but thank you all so much. Brian, do we have any open it up for Q&A from the audience?
Yeah, we have one question submitted so far, but if anyone else has any other questions, feel free to submit them now. Before I jump to that one question, I actually have one for the panel, possibly for you, Vanessa, but for the panel at large. It sounds like just an amazing experience being involved in these competitions. So my question would be, are there resources out there that you know of to give information on all the different competitions that are out there and available? That I imagine a lot of these people find out about through word of mouth, that a professor knows about it or something along those lines. But are there any resources for finding out about these competitions?
I'm currently trying to put that together. So if anyone has that,
Perfect.
yeah, and this is the first, good start to
Yeah,
it.
I can say for the Department of Energy, for the geothermal competition, but other clean energy competitions also that we have for students. So we have that, and I can pass that also to Vanessa.
Great.
Yeah, where we have the resources from the DOE.
Fantastic.
I'm happy to contribute the ones that I've tracked down as well.
Excellent. Thanks. We do have a question from an attendee here. Edmund Butler asks, for the panelists who worked on the transferability of geothermal technology from Kenya to Bangladesh, what were the findings?
Okay, for that, there was we figured out that it was not going to be on as much large scale as geothermal energy was not going to be as much large scale in Kenya as in Bangladesh, and this was because Bangladesh had a lower geographical acceptance to geothermal energy. It's possible though, but it will require more cost and more resources towards it. Yeah, I hope this helps. Yeah.
Any
In
other?
addition to what Kaito has said as well, it's a great presentation we did. Lots of results. There's not enough time to describe what our findings were. But I'm going to share a link to our presentation, which is on the Switch website, and then you can go through it to see what we actually did in details. Okay, thank you.
Great.
Yeah, I can say that when I was trying to identify, some additional projects and folks to highlight, your presentation was incredibly thorough and well put together, better than most presentations I've seen in my career. So it is a wonderful resource for folks to check out. So I've got one last question. Just what can Geothermal Rising do? We are, a national nonprofit, focused on bringing the geothermal community together. This is, in partnership with the student committee. So what can Geothermal Rising do for you folks, whether it's from the competition side or students?
I can say a couple things. I think that Geothermal Rising, as many organizations, professional organizations, is spread the word. I think that is what competitions we do all the time when we open this, from the time that we design, that we are trying for everyone to know that the opportunity is there to participate. So I think that is what you are doing here, and is to keep spreading the word, keep your audience, your members engaged in the way as students, as mentors, as sponsors, in any way that is involved. So, and that is, yes, again, for Geothermal Rising or any other competition. And think about the future also, right, of the projects, the students. Yeah, I think that the support for these competitions is what we needed, and is yeah, from Geothermal Rising is what I will say.
Perfect.
Great. We did
I
get
want to
one
add
more
some
question. Oh,
things
sorry.
here for what Geothermal Rising could do. I think bringing in a more diverse set of member base is important, continuing to engage the student body, but as well, knowing what our limitations have been for the last 20, 30 years in geothermal generally. We're growing at a 300 to 500 megawatt year-over-year rate in geothermal power generation. Heating and cooling capacity and development is much larger than that. I've seen the association shift its tone to accept more of those systems generally as commercial perspectives, but now we need the financiers on board. We need labor workforce. We need construction managers. We need student participation that is oriented towards practical implementation. We need to get stuff done.
Can I add something? And this is for the students who are considering participating in these competitions. Think about a diverse team also. I think that we have seen that bring different backgrounds, different skills. Always think that when you are setting up your team, and also take advantage that you are a student. Think innovative, think about out of the box on many things. I think that is definitely something that you can do when you are a student, and these competitions provide that environment to think a little bit out of what is there setting up. So yes, use that innovative minds that we have when we are students, for sure. So
Wonderful. And I think we have one last question.
Yeah. An anonymous attendee asks, what is something that surprised you to learn either as a participant in the competition or as a mentor?
If I can start, I think for me, it was just like the possibilities that geothermal could have. When I entered in, I really didn't have much geothermal background at all. And so, just learning about how impactful heating and cooling could be, and things like base load power, and how important geothermal is going to be with that when it comes to transitioning to renewables. That was very surprising to me. And then now that it's 2 years later and we've had different policies passed. I'm really excited to see future submissions that might include information like the IRA, Inflation Reduction Act, and how that's going to open up financing opportunities, not only for these collegiate projects, but also just in the future industry as well.
For me, I would say the amount of work that needs to go into community engagement. I was definitely a bit surprised because at first I just kind of thought like that it'd be like easier, I guess, than where it's just like, hey, like this is what we're thinking, like what's your guys' opinion? But there's a lot more legwork that's required and a lot of listening that is required on our side. So
Okay, for me, I think one thing that was really surprising, right, was the fact that an African country was actually making use of geothermal resource. I mean, in the African perspective, we are used to oil and gas, coal, and the rest. But seeing that Kenya was using 41% of their energy resource was actually geothermal, it was really surprising, and it gave me a kind of like encouragement to see that very soon other African countries are going to tap into the evolving energy mix. Yeah, thank you.
Great. Well, that looks like that's our last question. So I would just like to take this moment to thank all of our panelists for a great discussion today and to thank all of our attendees for joining us. Vanessa, any last words you'd like to share?
No, just thank you again. Really appreciate all the time and effort that went into all of this. And thank you all of our members again for making events like this possible. I'm thinking this might be an annual thing we do around this time to build support and encouragement around these two competitions, and hopefully have other competitions to share and resources for everyone. So thank you all again. And as a reminder, the recording and the resources will be sent out later this week. So on that, thank you all again.
Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good
Thanks.
day, everyone. Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.